Hey everybody, Better Man Tobacco. Today we're going to be smoking the Pappy Van Winkle barrel fermented cigar by Drew Estate. Very different, that barrel fermentation. You get a lot of that oak. Lots of sweetness. Loads of wrapper sweetness. Surprisingly sweet. And it's almost like like that caramel sweetness that you get off of a good whiskey. This has been in a dry box for quite a bit, but it might need even more. But I'm gonna smoke it anyway, just because I've been waiting to smoke it, waiting to review it, and I know this was gifted to me by Johnny OCD, and I know he's wanted me to review it, and so I'm finally getting around to it. And he said he did not enjoy it. Now, he doesn't drink. I occasionally do. I occasionally drink whiskey, and I enjoy it very much. So, hopefully, it'll be to my flavor preferences. Is at least what I'm hoping to get out of it. I'm hoping to get a lot of those barrel notes, a lot of that caramelized oak. So a lot of those really nice caramels, a lot of those really nice sweet oak notes is what I'm hoping to get out of this cigar. Now on the cold draw, a little bit of an open draw. A lot more loose tobacco than I would probably want. Plenty of sweetness. Let's get it toasted and lit up. Let's figure out what this thing is all about, all right? That really open draw really isn't my thing. I don't like super open draws. I like there to be a little resistance. Plenty of smoke output. Definitely a little bit of that bitter oak on the mid palate. I think, at least right now, my biggest complaint is that open draw. It's really, really open. I mean, like air through a straw. really light pepper, light white pepper on the retro. Not really getting any of those caramelized notes that I was getting on the cold draw. It's a lot more bitter oak, a little bit of that. It's almost like a dusty leather. Not super appetizing just yet, but it's just right off light up. So I'm gonna get a little further into this, maybe like 5 minutes down, 10 minutes down, and then really try to pull through those flavors and really round off those flavors, and see what it can give me. See how it develops and how it reintroduces that sweetness into the palate, which I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it has some of that sweetness, some of that barrel fermented sweetness that you can get off of a cigar like this. I will be back, like I said, probably about 5 minutes. So yeah, I'll be back when it's down just a little bit further. Hey everybody, back just a little further down, getting a lot more of that bourbon sweetness. It's not bad at all. It's something that I'm used to, as I like to drink bourbon. I like to drink various types of whiskeys, but that bourbon sweetness, it's like that very like caramelized oak sweetness that you get, almost that like what I'm trying to find in here is accumulation of notes that you get often with barrel aging, which is a certain amount of caramelized sweetness, a certain amount of oak, obviously. However, I'm getting more of like almost like a hickory on this, that hickory, and a little bit of leather, actually, as well on this. So great smoke output. Draw is still too open, but that's not going to change or anything. I'm hoping it does, but I'm not expecting it to. Retrohale, there's not much there on the retrohale. The palate is really where the flavors are accumulating, at least from what I'm getting so far. The palate is where the flavors are accumulating, and there's a lot of that. If you don't like whiskey, if you don't like bourbon, if you don't like those flavors, don't smoke this. If you do like bourbon, if you do like whiskey, I know the whiskey and cigars kind of correlate, they kind of mix and intermingle, and if you do like those things, if you like the notes that are in a very basic bourbon, like Weller 12, or actually trying to think, but it's definitely like a Weller bottle. It's just like a really basic Weller. It has like the bare bones bourbon flavor, or the bare bones whiskey flavors that you want, and nothing more. There's nothing more complex about it. There's nothing more interesting about it. This is like that. A lot of the filler tobacco, and I think the binder even, are probably outweighed by this barrel fermented wrapper, just because that barrel fermented wrapper is really giving a lot of that oak, and it's blending into kind of a hickory, which is nice, and a lot of those bourbon caramel, and I say caramel, but I mean you really got to hunt for it, and a lot of those more interesting bourbon notes that you would normally get. I want to say that there will be a more of a fruity sweetness, because at least in my experience, I've had in the bourbon category, I've had two types of sweetnesses. I've had a maple syrup sweetness, and I've had like a fruit sweetness, like a bright fruit sweetness. And I'm hoping that I get the bright fruit sweetness out of this cigar, out of that barrel fermentation, which I'm not really expecting, honestly, at this point. Quite frankly, not bad. Not a bad thing. Not a bad cigar, actually. Just not my preference flavor-wise. I like the more... Like, if there's going to be sweetness in a light cigar, I want it to be, like, a fruit sweetness. Whether it's a dark fruit or a light fruit sweetness, doesn't matter. I want there to be a fruit sweetness, usually. That's why I like the Laurano Reserva by Espinosa. I love that cigar. I think it's a great cigar. Purely because it has this beautiful orange note, this beautiful orange peel in it. It's wonderful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous cigar. When it comes to having that fruit, those fruit notes be very present and very forward. This cigar has a lot of those dark oak, leather, hickory, bourbon, a little bit of that bourbon sweetness, but not a lot of that, what I deem either traditional fruit sweetness or in a Maduro format, a traditional chocolate sweetness. And I really want that. And I think if it had that just that little something extra with like a nice light sweetness on it, it would be golden. I would love this because it's super smooth. No harsh flavors, no bitter, no super unintentionally bitter flavors on the palate. Nothing off-putting about it at all. But I feel like it's still lacking. Like, it has all the right parts. The burn line's great. The construction's good. Like I said, smoke output's wonderful. It draws a little open, but, what are you going to do? And that all of those flavors that this has, I feel, and this is just my personal preference, should have a little bit of sweetness that is needed to round out this cigar perfectly. And it's not there. But that's okay. You still get some of that, caramelized bourbon sweetness that you get on a lot of bourbons, but I mean, it doesn't feel all that, I don't want to say important, but all that complex. And it doesn't feel balanced. I think that's more of my issue, is that it doesn't feel balanced. It feels like it's missing something. It feels like there's a missing piece of the puzzle on this cigar. Which says a lot about this cigar specifically, is that it's just one component. And sometimes that one component really changes how you view the cigar and how you feel about it. A little bit more pepper building through the retrohale. And I'm hoping that allows for some more complex flavors in the back of the palate. Yeah. I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing to write home about, but definitely not, I mean, it's not a shit stick, that's for sure. It's pretty damn good. It just feels kind of basic. Basic from a cigar that had so much hype to it. From a cigar that had so much behind it, where it was like, oh, this is the Pappy Van Winkle cigar. We're aging it in these bourbon barrels, and it's going to be, or fermenting it in these bourbon barrels, and it's going to have a lot of that flavor, and so the whiskey lovers are going to love it. Like, I hate to say it, but I think I think there could be more. I just think there could be more. I know there's cigars that have more, and they aren't fermented in bourbon barrels, and they have more of that caramelized sweetness and those fruit sweetnesses, and it's really balanced and whatever. Like, there's cigars with more that don't have the barrel fermenting pushing it forward. And I think that the barrel fermented wrapper provides so much flavor to it that you're lacking certain flavors that you would want if you're a frequent cigar smoker, like those chocolates and those fruit sweetnesses and those types of things. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get down probably to about the start of the second third. Still incredible smoke output. I don't have any complaints there. Yeah, and I'll get back to you probably at the start of the second third. See if anything develops, see if anything changes, and if nothing changes, then I'll just let you know that for a minute, and then get into the final third where this wrapper changes. That I'm interested about. Where this wrapper changes, you should have a flavor change. You should have a flavor change, and if there's zero flavor change, or if there's a downgrade in flavor, that will tell a lot about this cigar. So I'm going to get through till, like I said, start of the second third, and I'll come back. All right, hey everybody. Just letting you guys know, I'm taking this band off a little early because I want to get a closer look at it, because I think it looks cool. I think it's a great band. And also to look at that. See how that's coming up there. You see that? Disgusting. Tell you what. Shouldn't affect anything though. Shouldn't be too crazy. But that little line right there, I'm excited to get to that. I'm excited to get to that little change. Save your bands. No flavor changes so far. I'm not even at the second third yet though. Went inside to get a little agua, just to wet the whistle. Yeah, not many changes. I mean, really, not much to write home about there. Just that same oak, a little bit. I think it's kind of dying out. Maybe that's a change. But maybe I'm just getting used to that little bourbon sweetness, that little caramelized sweetness. Can't really tell. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm just going to get down to it. I'll let you guys know if anything changes. And then, at the very least, definitely before we hit that line, I'll come back in and I'll just smoke through that line with you guys. And really give you an idea of what goes on flavor-wise, flavor changes-wise. But other than that, pretty basic. I mean, I'm not going to say disappointing, because it's not disappointing. But it's just, and I know I said this when I last went on here, but I mean, it just feels like it's missing something. It feels like there should be something there, and there isn't. So, is what it is. See you guys very shortly. Hey everybody, coming back. Hate to say it. It's getting slightly spicier, like more of a red pepper spice almost. Very traditional, like Nicaraguan spice to it, where it's like a nice little, kick of spice, but it's kind of drowning out, like, and I'm touching it up a little bit because it's a little wavy, and also, it's not going out, but I feel as though it needs it, so. It's my cigar. I'm going to do whatever I want with it. I'm getting a little bit of funk. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's not, I think that dominant note, that spice came in and kind of took over that dominant note, but the fermentation on this cigar allows for that oakiness and that fermented, that very barrel char kind of flavor to be more present than it should be, and it's creating this kind of weird little funkiness that I don't like. However, I'm hoping that it's not gonna drive me crazy. I'm hoping that it kind of, dials back and that it goes away and that it comes back, because for a second there it was getting really light and there wasn't really much flavor coming through. It was kind of bland. See, I think touching it up helped a little bit. But it's allowing for this like little bit of like fermented funk, and I think that that does a disservice to how the flavor was starting to develop, and how it was still kind of coming in, that sweetness, and you get hits of that caramel-like sweetness and that bourbon-like sweetness, and you get hits of that oak that kind of transitioned into a hickory, and it wasn't a bad flavor. And now it's starting to get this more fermented, like, spice nuance that I'm just not really a fan of, which is unfortunate, because if it had transitioned better, or had transitioned and added that little bit of spice into that flavor correctly, I wouldn't have been mad at all. I think that would have been a great addition. But I'm just not getting that. I'm just not getting that that level of flavor. I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything new. But anything new that I am getting is either getting stronger or getting gross. And I mean gross in the nicest way possible. Like, it's not like, I don't have to put it down or anything. I'm not like fucking saying that it's terrible, but it's just not my preference. There's nothing about it that's like preferably that I would prefer in a cigar, in a whiskey, or in anything. So I'm hoping that it rounds out, and I'm hoping that it transitions through that final wrapper change, in that final, third or half a third, whatever. Not third. Hoping it transitions. So midway through the second third, get a little bit more of that fermented little funkiness to it. Spice through the retro. And I think that's the saving grace here, is that very traditional Nicaraguan spice. I think that is the saving grace of this flavor right now, because of that spice wasn't there, and it was just that kind of fermented funk, and you had to like kind of dig through to find those notes. It would fall on its face, and it wouldn't be good. So yeah, unfortunate that that's the case for this so far. I'm gonna smoke down further. I'm gonna get down right up to that transition and just bring you through that transition. I'm hoping that I get kind of a blast of those, I'm hoping that there's like just a little bit of sweetness. I'm just asking for like some cocoa powder, some sweetness, that flavor to build through that final third, so that it doesn't fall on its face harder than it is right now. So yeah, I'll get back to you when I'm down at that transition, that wrapper change. Hey everybody. So right at this transition here, not just on that side yet, I'm just gonna smoke this while I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm gonna try and pick out some of the flavors within this transition just right at the start of it. So that draw never really tightened up, which is something I wish happened. It was entirely consistent that funk kind of dialed down, which is nice, but that spice and that oak and that whatever, all the stuff that I said previously, it all kind of was there. It was really light. I didn't like how light it was. I didn't like how little there was throughout that second third, and I'm hoping that in this final third, some of that dark chocolate, some of that, some of those more traditional cigar flavors coming in complement that that bourbon note that I was getting. And I got it in the second third. It started to hit this little bit of caramely bourbon flavor, which was really nice, and I want that throughout this final third. And I want to add some sweetness, some of that chocolate, maybe some cocoa, whatever, just as much as I can get out of it. A little bit of black pepper in the retro. That oak really coming through, not only on the palate, but also through the retro. You're getting plenty of that oak. Just oak and hickory, and maybe even a little bit of that that bourbon caramel sweetness, just very lightly on the palate. Don't want to smoke it too fast, but yeah, nothing crazy. I'm surprised at how much heat is transferring through it. It's not like a ton or anything, but you can definitely feel it's definitely hot. But nothing crazy. Because usually in a Drew Estate, at least from what I've experienced throughout Drew Estate, is that there's almost no heat behind the burn. I mean, I can hold it like this forever, usually. In this one, I can't. It's a little hotter than normal. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's for. I don't think it affects the flavor that much. I just find it interesting. I find it like something notable about the cigar is that whether or not it transfers heat or not. I've been desiring more sweetness in this whole cigar because I think it would balance it perfectly. Not a bad cigar by any means. That was a really light smoke output there. That's better. That fermented funk, like I said, it died out a little bit, but it's still there. It's still present, and I don't appreciate it maybe as much as somebody who really enjoys that type of flavor profile, because I know that flavor profile exists within certain liquors and certain alcohols. There's like this, oh, it's this nice fermented whatever, and some people enjoy that. I don't. I don't like tasting the fermentation on the grain or the fruit or whatever, and I think it's a large part within fruit. So any like wines, and I know that I'm not a wine person. I don't like wine, believe me. It's not my thing. But I know that a lot of wine connoisseurs like that fermented fruit note. And it's not a fermented fruit, it's just fermented, which I think is a disservice to it. I think that if it did have some of that fermented grain or that fermented fruit, and you could tell that it was fermented, without just having this musty ferment nuance in it, it would be much more of an outstanding flavor note that you could actually, enjoy and appreciate the nuance of. But I just don't think that's the case. As I'm hitting this darker wrapper, I'm not getting a ton of transitional flavors. Then again, I'm not fully into it yet. So I don't know. Quick purge. I don't know if that's just from the previous third where it's that kind of musty notes coming in. I think I'm getting a little more leather, at least on that last puff. I was getting a little more leather, a little more of that leather, not chocolate, but more of that leathery wood nuances. And I got this in the second third, especially in the first third. I think the first third has been the best part of the cigar so far. I'm gonna touch it up just a little bit, just to get it in the right spot. Nothing like, nothing ridiculous, but just on the end to get it going. See, I'm not getting a ton of smoke output now. What is with that? Like, I'm still getting a draw off it. I'm just not getting a ton of smoke. I should tell you, the smell on this thing is like very barbecue smell. It's almost like a barbecue sauce. Which I don't mind, but it doesn't transition at all. Like, because the barbecue sauce has like that little bit of sweetness on it, and it doesn't transition at all into the flavors on the palate. There's no sweetness, and not even that like barbecue sweetness. On the palate. And I truly do think that would be exceptional within this cigar's profile. Now the smoke output's starting to kick up, which is good. This thing kind of needs to be drawn on a little more than I'm used to. I think the last cigar that I smoked, which you can go watch, was the Plasencia, and that had more of like okay, you gotta wait and let it rest for a little bit and smoke it slower. This, you kind of have to pull on relatively consistently, which is a little annoying. Like, if you're just not there enough, it kind of goes away. And I feel like there's a very short forgiveness window, because some cigars where you'll smoke them, and whether you're smoking a little fast or a little slow, they'll still function just fine. This cigar, you smoke a little fast and you're coning out the wazoo, you get some bitterness, whatever. You smoke it a little too slow and it fucking goes out on you. You have to be perfect. And that's not how cigars should be. You shouldn't have to have the perfect timing on your draw in order to enjoy it. I just don't think that should be a thing. I'll tell you what I am getting. Just a little bit, and I mean very little, of like a chocolatey caramel sweetness that's coming up on the front of the palate. And that's what I'm looking for, but those other nuances are gone. I mean, that oak and that bourbony, that bourbon strength it's gone. It's no longer there. And I want that. I want the first third and at least the little leathery, chocolatey note that I'm starting to get off of this. I want those together, and they're just not. They're just not together. That's so unfortunate. It's so close, like there's some cigars that are there. There's some cigars that are way far off, and this one is so close to being a really good cigar, but it's just not there. It's not there yet. There's so much that I think could be done with the amount of sweetness that you get out of it. And I'm not a blender. I don't blend cigars. I don't roll cigars. I don't do anything like that, which I would love to get into. I'd love to, if any of you know how to kind of, start blending your own tobacco or whatever. Maybe I got to buy some whole leaf tobacco, start blending it, and just, figure out blends that I like. But yeah, at least this, it's just, so if any of you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. But just this in general is just not my thing, I mean, yeah, you're getting a little bit of that spice, a little bit of that leather, a little bit of that very small amounts of that chocolatey sweetness, and that caramel's kind of subsiding, but there's just not enough for me to say, oh, I really want to go and get this cigar again, or I really want to try this cigar again, because I know that at least, like, construction wise, burn line was okay. Burn line was a little wavy, but I just felt like it kept kind of not going out entirely, but going out enough for me to want to relight it. And I just don't think that that's doing the cigar any favors, and I don't think that that's doing the cigar any good when it comes to flavor profile and how the flavors develop on the palate. A lot more black pepper, stinging the sinuses, which is a good thing, that there's more black pepper on there. I'm not a huge, like really stinging the whole face thing. I'm not huge into cigars like that. I think that, Johnny recently did 2 videos. One on, I believe it was the Lancero version of the Sin Compromiso, and then the Sin Compromiso in a Toro. And based on his reviews, I probably would have liked the Toro better. He liked the Lancero better, but that's because he likes strength, full body, lots of pepper. He's that kind of guy, but I'm not. I like a milder pepper through the retro. I think that super strong, bold pepper, especially super strong, bold black pepper, kind of makes your eyes water a little bit, is more often than not something where I'm like, okay, I won't retro as often, you know? I'm surprised at how much loose tobacco is within the cap of this. Like, I don't think I've ever had a cigar that has had this much tobacco in my mouth. Of course, a lot of cigars have, you know, you get tobacco in your mouth, you get used to it, whatever. But this one has a lot. This one's kind of like annoying in that way. And that's how I would describe a cigar for the most part, is annoying. Because it's good enough to keep trying for the flavor profile you want, but not good enough to deliver the flavor profile that you that could make it a fantastic cigar for some people. And I think that's made really unfortunate. But you know, such is life. Such is how we do things. You know, how cigar manufacturers do things. They create blends that they enjoy, or if they're creating blend for somebody, they create a blend that that person enjoys. And I think that's the whole deal with like celebrity cigars. Like, obviously, it's to make money, right? Hey, Joe Rogan, I saw that you like cigars. Let's make one for you and put your face on it, and then we'll sell a bunch of cigars. We'll give you a cut of the profits and whatever. And Joe Rogan could taste that cigar and be like, oh, this is fantastic for me. And then they're like, boom, all right, sweet, let's ship it out. But then you take a cigar smoker who smoked, you know, AJ Fernandez or Espinosa or even Drew Estate, or and has smoked the entire Liga line, and they love those cigars, and then they smoke Joe Rogan's cigar and they go, yeah, it's okay. You know, it's okay for like a novice smoker. It's okay for somebody who just doesn't really know cigars, you know? And it's just, you know, it feels like a cheap money grab. I feel like that happened with the M81. I think that in a lot of people are like hyping it up, right? But I personally, I would take it as a gift. Don't get me wrong, but I've never bought it, and I don't plan on buying it. Not because it's a celebrity cigar, but because is it worth it? You know, like, I've seen so many people, even people within my own life that fellow cigar smokers that I've met at lounges and stuff, like, they don't like it. They don't think it's great. They just are like, and some dude in the corner is like, yeah, this is fantastic. This is whatever. But usually those guys are like, they want something that's, those are usually the guys that go to like CI. If you don't know, there's Cigars International. They go to their website and they buy like the diesel Maduros, which I've never had. But one of the guys I know, that's like his go-to thing. But it's so one noted, and it's so strong, and it's such a pepper blast, and it's such a it's just one peppery strong note throughout the whole thing. And those are the types of guys that like I've seen at least like the M81. And any cigar smoker who appreciates the nuances of cigars, who goes, oh, I like that this has a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of that dried fruit, those little dark red fruit notes, the plums and the whatever, like, or I like this syrupy sweetness, or I like Connecticut's because they have plenty of that cedar and that, you know, whatever. Those are the people that don't like the M81 because they like flavor. And not to say that it doesn't have flavor, it just has one very distinct flavor. And that just, you know, if you like it, you like it. I mean, smoke whatever cigar you want. I'm not gonna fucking judge you for it. I mean, I am, but I'm not gonna publicly judge you for it straight to your face. Like, I don't care. If you enjoy those cigars, enjoy those cigars. Same thing with like infused or flavored cigars. Like if your favorite cigar is the acid Cuba Cuba or the acid Blondie, fucking go for it, man. But just like, don't come up to someone who appreciates those nuances specifically in cigars and go, oh, like, this is the best cigar. This is like the only thing that should be on the shelves. Don't be that guy. And if you're excited about it, I mean, I know people that one of my family members who smokes cigars, he loves the Sweet Jane, which I've never had. But he loves the Sweet Jane. He's like, man, you just gotta try these. These are just the best. These are the best things that are out there. I'm like, but are they though? But are they? Is there something that is significantly better that has some of those nuances that you like within that cigar, but you can get at a premium cigar, out of something that is just tobacco, out of something that is art, and not out of something that is, flavored or whatever. And I don't have anything against people who enjoy them and are neutral about how they enjoy them. Like, oh, I like this cigar, and you don't have to like this cigar, you don't have to try this cigar, but I like it. And then, but when I come in and I go, oh, you should try this cigar, you should try the Ramon Ionis by AJ Fernandez, that's a great cigar. Or you should try the acid line, because that's the best cigar. It's like, dude, I smoke this, or I smoke this, and I don't mind recommendations. I don't know how to describe how I'm feeling right now. Like this feeling that I'm getting from hold on. Sorry about that. So I'm trying to collect my thoughts about this so I can execute it in a way that's not gonna hurt people's feelings, especially new cigar smokers. If you're a new cigar smoker, if you're somebody who you only smoke a cigar once in a blue moon, you're brand new to it, you don't have a passion for it, you just enjoy them, and you enjoy the flavored ones because they give you an experience of, they give you joy, they give you an experience. I have nothing against that. But if you come up to a regular cigar smoker, somebody who enjoys nuance, who enjoys or enjoys a specific brand or enjoys whatever, and you go up to them and you go, hey, have you ever tried this? I think it's really good. Perfectly fine. Perfectly normal, right? But if you're going to go into a conversation and say, this grape flavored cigar, best thing since sliced bread, I feel like I know more than you do, therefore you should try it. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. Just don't be an asshole about it, you know? I think that's where I'm getting with it, with the whole thing, is like, if you're gonna smoke flavored cigars, even if you have a different palate than somebody and you recommend a cigar, but it's a real cigar, I have no issue with that. If you really genuinely enjoy the blackened M81, then fucking recommend it. Recommend it to somebody. Tell somebody that you really enjoy it and that they should try it. Or even better yet, grab one off the shelf, buy it, and hand it to somebody. Just say, hey, here you go. At least no cigar smoker that I know is going to come up to you and go, nah, pass. Unless they've smoked it before and they know they don't like it, and then they can tell you that before you buy it. But like for me, right, I really enjoy the Ramon Ionis by AJ Fernandez. So what did I do? I went to my girlfriend's dad and my girlfriend's uncle, who both smoke cigars, and I bought 2 of these for you and 1 for me, I bought 1 for each of you. Here you go. Try it when you can, and tell me how you think. What you think. If you don't like it, if you do like it, if you hate it, if you love it, whatever, just tell me how you feel about it. And I think that's the best way to approach that kind of thing. Like, cigar bombs and stuff. I'm going to put this down. I think it's done. No real flavor differences. That chocolate went away. It's just leather and like that weird fermented musky nuance. I'm putting it down. It's over. I still want to talk though, just because I'm feeling chatty. There is no world in where you give somebody a cigar, even if they hate it, even if they just don't like it, whatever. There's no world where they won't go and smoke it. And like I said, even if they hate it, even if they absolutely despise it, there's no world where they won't smoke it, try it, and get back to you, unless you just never see them again. And in that case, I guess that's a weird scenario. But you know, you give somebody something that you enjoy and a passion that you're a part of. Like, I have a huge passion for this part of the tobacco industry. I love it. I love every part of it. I love how communal it is. I love how passionate people are about it. I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy watching interviews with Steve Saka or Michael Herklotz or anybody who's just passionate. Cigar Hound Dog, even Smoke One If You Have One, Soy Sauce Assassin, Johnny OCD. I love their passion for the industry. I love their passion for cigars, and I respect their opinion because of it, even if I don't have the same palate as them. Even if they do a review and they hated a cigar and I loved it, I don't care, because I respect that they have a passion for it. And if you're the type of person that doesn't have a passion for it, doesn't care about, doesn't care about cigars, doesn't whatever, and you come up to me and say, I know better than you, you should try this, and it's something that like the acid line or something like a flavored one. I mean, if you hand it to me, I'm not going to say no, but also don't be a dick, man. Don't be a dick, you know? It's really not that difficult to not be a dick. So yeah, that's it for me. I put it out. All right, set it down. It's going out. So, I do really like this band, though. The banding on it's really nice. I enjoy it. So yeah, I'm going to head out. Hopefully I'll get another review in next week. Like I said, I think Thursdays are going to be my day, you know? I think it'll be once a week, and I think it'll be a Thursday, just because I feel like that's when I have the most time to sit down and review and enjoy, and talk. And obviously I'm feeling very talkative today. So yeah, I will see you guys hopefully next week, if not sooner. And I can't wait to post another video, post more videos, and talk about it more, and get more affiliated, and just an overall enjoyment period of cigars for me. So yeah, I will see you all very shortly, hopefully. I hope I get more and more time to just sit down and smoke, because I love talking about cigars. I love that I get comments from random people, and I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the people watching it. I appreciate the people that watch this far. The people that watch this far are insane to me. But I mean, I enjoy long form content, but still, like, I don't get it. I don't get how you do it. Because I sit here and talk. Anyway, I hope to see you next week. I hope you all are enjoying your day. I'm hoping you're enjoying a wonderful cigar, and I will see ya.